All right, so a lot of excitement about Jensen Huang coming up at CES. I want to ask you, we're seeing the stock move higher in the pre-market. What could he say that isn't already priced into this stock? People have incredible estimates for growth. They have incredible expectations. So many people believe that this stock has a huge moat. What can he say to reaccelerate this trade?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously a lot of moving parts to NVIDIA's story, but I think that one of the, I'll call it a frustration, as you kind of touched on earlier in the show. The stock just really hasn't done anything. It's trailed both Marvell and Broadcom by about 30% since the election. And so people really just been waiting for a catalyst, and the catalyst path really post their earnings in mid-November was there a little bit of a void there. But now here we are. People have had the keynote tonight at CES circled on their calendar for months now. And then beyond there, we get earnings in late February, and then we get GTC in March. But tonight, there's a lot of spec and expectations that maybe we're going to get Jensen tease a little bit in terms of the AI robotics strategy. Maybe we'll get some more granularity around the Blackwell ramp, which is upon us. He's also going to touch on gaming and some other aspects of the business. But clearly, the bulls want to hear just some color around how Blackwell's going so far, at least in terms of supply-demand goes.
All right, so obviously we've been talking a lot about NVIDIA, widely held stock for both institutional and retail traders. I want to get your take on what Stephanie Link said on our air Friday about NVIDIA and the AI trade.
I'm not entirely convinced that the Mag 7 is going to lead us into 2025. They've had a nice run. I think the reason why in December they did so well is because people were chasing for performance, because a lot of PMs were under their benchmarks, right? So they were chasing the winners, and those have been the winners here today.
So, Joel, I'm going to get your take on that. We've seen some weakness when it comes to NVIDIA. You highlighted that. But just in general, this whole trade kind of dominating the markets. I just talked about the narrowness of the market a short time ago. Do you believe that might change when we talk about the leadership and where flows are going as we go into the new year?
I mean, it's possible. But I mean, that just hasn't really been a winning strategy over the past 12 to 18 months when sort of big tech bottomed sort of in October, November of 2022. You know, fundamentals are just very robust. I think the concerns in my conversations are more about if this momentum can continue, just given the strength we've seen over the past year plus and rates continue to rise. But in terms of big tech, you have best-in-class margins, best-in-class management teams, and they're all just sort of dominant in their arenas. And there's really no sign or evidence that large tech earnings are going to disappoint on any front. You know, spending, the market's become a lot more comfortable with how they're spending their money. Their capital return programs on the whole remain very constructive as well. And positioning is a lot more balanced than it was, say, a year ago as well. So there's some global investors that have been underweight tech relative versus the past 5 years. And I think that's been a big part of the return of the semis AI trade in the past 2 to 3 weeks. Just positioning, it just got a little bit lighter than historically we've been used to, and you get this furious rotation. And you're a global investor. Where else are you going to put your dollars other than U.S. tech? It's hands down the best group of companies on the planet.